putting a lot of pressure, and we want to see what Jankos can get. And you know, the fact that Broken Shard just talked about Jankos getting going, I wonder if they're going to focus on maybe them bans. At the moment, it's all about the mid lane. Orianna and Twisted Fate taken away from Soren. No surprises there. Kassadin and Gragas banned out also. Standard bans so far for both of these teams.
Gragas has featured in every single game, picked or banned thus far in Super Week, is definitely the most contested top lane champion, I would dare say. Fizz is still up and available. Overpower's run that in the past. And Soren, his primary champion of Orianna has been taken off the table. So we need to see what he's going to default back to. Has played Ryze to mixed success, and I don't really know what he's going to get his hands on this time around.
Let's not forget, of course, that Overpowered plays Zillion every game so far in Super Week. Kog'Maw also a big popular choice for them, and that's another lock-in for Selavar in the AD carry role.
First pick Kog'Maw once again. ROCCAT did that earlier today against the Super Hot crew, and Selavar had a great game, was in good positions, and just a strong performance. So the Copenhagen Wolves have got all of the junglers available to them. They can decide whatever they want to run. Broken Shard did try Rengar yesterday. It was not particularly effective. He did try Lee Sin in the secondary game. So we'll see if he wants to try one of those two today.
And I wonder if Unlimited is going to run a roaming Braum here. I wonder if they're going to try something interesting to try and topple ROCCAT and try and set themselves apart. Will they go with the AD carry? It would be a counter. Or will they try and lock in a top laner early? You can see a lot of discussion in this one. 15 seconds. Clearly the bans may have pulled them a little out of tilt here. And now, having a while to discuss it, it is going to be the jungle role. It looks like it's going to be Lee Sin for Broken Shard.
I don't think that's too worrying for ROCCAT. Vander has not played a massive amount of Braum, has been preferring the likes of Morgana and Thresh, etc. And on the other side of the coin, Broken Shard's going to get his most comfortable. If I were in Jankos' shoes, I would play Elise once more. He's had 2 fantastic games in Elise this weekend already. It is working. And we'll see if he wants to agree. He's currently hovering over Jarvan. It would be the first time this week for him.
Yeah, I'd be amazed if he decided to switch it out. You can see that he clearly sees flicking through decisions. Doesn't have to make that choice right now, but he will. You talked about it in the previous matchup, of course, against Super Hot Crew. Vander, 5-0 on Morgana. Could he make it 6?
So I believe with this match, it can work. The thing that's good about Morgana is you can block that initial stun that's going to come down from Braum because of those concussive blows from the passive. And on the same token, if you've got an aggressive mid or top laner, then ROCCAT can obviously use that Black Shield aggressively. Lulu is still up and available. ROCCAT have got the makings of exactly the same comp from earlier today. A Protect the Kog'Maw. Vander ran Thresh in game 1. He's got Morgana this time round. But you could stick in the Lulu, you could stick in the Zillion, and just do it all over again. They've got the playstyle. They didn't work against Alliance. They did work against Super Hot Crew. Not sure if Copenhagen Wolves have what it takes to stop ROCCAT if they play the same comp.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if Ziggs gets locked in, Zillion will be coming out. I mean, it worked so well against Selfie. Why wouldn't it work against Soren? Woolite going for the AD carry role, of course, is Tristana. We just saw Tristana versus Kog'Maw in the previous matchup between Alliance and Gambit, and that didn't work out too well. Tam's dominant in that one. We've heard Zaza's talking about Maokai in this top lane, which he's currently hovering over. To great success. He completely rates it as the 2nd highest pick for top lane.
So he ran Lulu in the previous game, earlier today, and fulfilled that very kite role effectively. Good glitter lances, good wild growths. With the Maokai, it's somewhat more aggressive. You want to be jumping into the team. But we talked about it. ROCCAT have got the exact same comp, barring the support role. For the Copenhagen Wolves, they are also running an incredibly similar comp to the Super Hot Crew. Super Hot Crew ran Tristana, Ziggs, Rengar as their sort of primary champions, and they had a Shyvana top lane. If Youngbuck goes for an Irelia or a Shyvana, it's going to be a very similar play style as game 1 of the day. ROCCAT have got a mid-game power spike, they want to protect Selavar, and they want to get items as quickly as possible. And just punish in, the sort of 15 to 30 minute mark.
Youngbuck with the Mundo, it seems. It's Champity ran to...
That's a stern focus face.
That's a pressure face. That's a man that knows his mother's watching. She's upstairs.
Youngbuck has struggled. Yesterday, he got obliterated by Fnatic. They really punished him super hard. And I think for the Wolves, it's all going to be about this mid game. If the Wolves do not fall behind, they do have Mundo, who is fantastic against double AP. Zillion's damage falls off. Lulu is not particularly well known for damage. And yes, Kog'Maw can shred through Mundo quite effectively if he's given time. The Copenhagen Wolves cannot afford to fall behind in the laning phase or in the first few rotations around the map. If they do, ROCCAT are going to have the ability to overpower them. If Copenhagen Wolves can force it to go fairly late, Mundo can have a good job. Mundo can survive and theoretically have a front line while Soren and Woolite do the damage.
So ROCCAT, of course, did fantastically well with the same comp. Clearly, Copenhagen Wolves watched that match and obviously thought, you know what, we know how to beat that. We'll see if it works out or whether they've just simply fell straight into the same track and ROCCAT and just like, well, this is it. This is all right. This is easy.
ROCCAT have got what they wanted. They had Thresh if they wanted to. They chose Morgana over it. Most likely because of the Braum. Morgana does fairly well in that matchup.
Well, they haven't got the Rengar in the jungle.
And we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see how they handle it because again, same comp. Mid-game power spike, they want to get ahead early and then punish.
We'll see how it works out. Which 5 champions do you think will push to victory? Tweet us hashtag ROCKWin for ROCCAT or hashtag CWWin for Copenhagen Wolves to LOL eSports, and we'll see if the players' selections have changed your votes. ROCCAT currently lying in 6th place, chasing out potentially a 5th or maybe in a 4th place. They can theoretically still get 3rd with Super Hot Crew, 2 losses so far. They are now on 12-14, I believe. Can they make it 13-14?
So 2 interesting things about the games today, at least. Kog'Maw's been blue side all 3 games. Tristana's been red side all 3 games. Kog'Maw's currently undefeated. We'll see if that trend continues. But it's all about this laning phase. Copenhagen Wolves cannot afford to miss the skill shots that they did yesterday. There was a few missed opportunities by not landing the abilities they needed to. And Copenhagen Wolves were punished, and it's part of the reason they lost their games.
So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. ROCCAT as the blue team once again up against the Copenhagen Wolves this time around on the red side. ROCCAT currently 1-for-1 in Super Week. Good performances in both games. Copenhagen Wolves meanwhile on 0-2. Yankos sidestepping and Broken Shot smiting one of the little spiders. That's just spiteful.
Smiteful, one might say. Advantage Broken Shot in Copenhagen Wolves. Already got himself 1 CS on the board. It is game-changing, D-Man. But we are going to see head-to-head matchups. So Zaza should punish Youngbuck very early on. The Lulu versus Mundo. Mundo does not do particularly well in lane, especially against the range harass that Lulu can put down. And Zazas has got the ability to make it work. Earlier today, against Mima, he put a lot of tower pressure down despite the fact he couldn't deny CS. And we need to see, is Jankos going to get his 13th first blood in 27 games?
Zazas level 1 took shield there to stop that bomb. That may cause him a problem early on in the lane phase against Youngbuck. We'll see how it works out. And more to the point, whether he'd be up against Youngbuck. It looks like he will. Looks like ROCCAT are going to stick with the bottom lane as Silver does a little 2-step. This Monarch Butterfly.
I think they're trying to replicate...
Yeah.
Oh, Sullivan's getting a scratch on the head. Good guy, Vanda. That was very cute.
Yeah, it wasn't quite as bad as what we saw in North America during the weekend. So the Wolves and ROCCAT, let's see how this one works out. We'll keep our eyes on all of these lanes. Of course, this bottom lane was pretty vital in that last matchup they faced each other. Look at Unlimited immediately going very aggressive. He wants to get around the side there, but missed out on his passive skill shot, trying to land it down, and Vanda immediately starting out with that pull will start getting that gold racking up.
Well, we'll see how they can work themselves out. That concussive blows is a fairly small icon on those minions. Unlimited is taking some pokes. So of course, because he's melee against both Kog'Maw and Morgana, who have got fantastic range, in order for Unlimited and Woolite to get ahead in this lane, they have to play very aggressively, and Unlimited needs to get some levels. If he can do the stand behind me into Winter's Bite combo on a minion, dash to a minion, land an auto attack and a Q, and then stun a member of ROCCAT's duo lane, that's how he can assert some lane dominance. But if he doesn't play aggressively, in theory he should be poked down by both Sullivan and Vanda, and maybe Woolite will be losing some CS. So we'll have to keep our eyes on how the two of them play that lane out. Also, we have to see if Broken Shard's going to help them and try to get some early presence in that lane.
So far, both junglers continuing about their path. They've both got the double buffs up. Wolves in the race. Jankos, of course, the First Blood Master, I think it's safe to call him. Setting things up so often for ROCCAT, as Broken Shard so keenly pointed out at the start of this one. Soren putting some good pressure on Overpower, but Overpower himself is managing to keep the CS up, and both of these really are very strong farmers early on.
Yeah, they really are, and that's the combo Unlimited's looking for.
Well, he's going to get the lockup. Celavar, of course, stunned out there. Black Shield on him. The Ignite is running. He's in trouble. Will they get enough on First Blood, though? Overwhelming flashes for it and gets it. He's going to get away. The Ignite running is not going to be enough. Cathian, surprised, not going to get close. And First Blood this time goes to the Wolves.
So I give a cookie award to one player a day. Yesterday, Jez has got it for Ari. Today, Unlimited gets it for a level 3 engage. He played the Braum perfectly. Dashed to a minion, auto-attacked Celavar and Vander, and landed the skill shots he needed to. Very good combination. And that's the kill lane threat from a Braum and Tristana. The moment Braum lands the damage, Tristana can hop in there with Rocket Jump and close the kill out. So very well executed, and a good start to this match for the Wolves.
So Wolves now in the lead. Just a tiny lead, but
still counts.
Better than nothing, man. Better than nothing. It does, of course, mean, look at that, Zeal. First item for Woolite, so he looks like he may even try and start out with a Static Shiv here.
So I believe Creatine did this yesterday. Started Static Shiv, and it delayed his power spike so much against SK Gaming that he was a non-factor for the vast majority of the mid-game. So in order for Woolite to make this potential Static Shiv first buy, he needs to punish this lane. He'll be looking for some harassment to Celavar, hopefully getting some critical hits. And that can also help reduce the pressure on Unlimited to play hyper-aggressively. Because of the range and the poke advantage Celavar and Vander have in that lane, Woolite can now pick up some of that additional slack. And in Picks and Bans, we talked about the Wolves. If they fell behind in the laning phase, ROCCAT could punish them heavily in the mid-game. Let's see how they handle themselves with that early kill and how that dual lane continues to play out.
Forbidden Idol being picked up by Zaz on his first back. Looks like it's Melanomicon once again for him. Meanwhile, Negatron Cloak for Youngbuck to counter the pressure he's undoubtedly about to get. Spirit Visage could well be his first item. Mid laners have yet to go back, actually. They're both in a pretty heavy farming session, keeping fairly even. It is a slight advantage for Soren right now. In the stakes, neither of them going back to get that challenge just yet.
Arguably the world's most annoying mid lane. Dealing with bombs from both sides. Bombs on your heads from Zillion and bouncing bombs from Ziggs. It's going to be a farm fest unless a jungler really gets involved. Overpower, of course, is going to have that Chrono Shift for safety.
Oh, he's low.
Youngbuck doesn't have save.
He's low. Oh, flash. Good flash as well, because that was a fairly blind cocoon coming around the side there. Quick reactions from Youngbuck, and that absolutely would have saved his life. He's still in trouble, though, because we do see Jankos not backing off. Soren took a bomb there. He's heading up towards the top. Mega Inferno bomb is going to come in. Cocoon lands on towards Youngbuck. That's a lot of damage on Jankos. Wild Growth should be enough to get him down. No, he's in trouble. Has to repel. Where's he going to go? Tries to get around there. Then quickly going to get hit out. Does not have the damage, and a great counter from the Wolves gives them a 2-0 lead.
Youngbuck hitting 6 thanks to the minion wave being killed by Soren is what allowed him to get away with his life in that situation. So Copenhagen Wolves, they reply to the gank, and they give themselves a 1,000 gold lead. Broken Shot was also in the right time to defend. Ends up helping them out. So good play to the start of this game here for the Wolves. Broken Shot was actually responding to the dive by Jankos relatively well. He came a tiny bit late, but you could see that he was anticipating the dive from Jankos. So good read of the situation from Broken Shot to be close enough to actually impactful and helpful.
We did see Soren, of course, helping out. That means it gave him the assist and the extra gold required. Now, look at this. Blue Wolf potential steal coming out from Broken Shard. He's waiting off at the side. Yet to hit 6. Overpower is going to come across. There's the smite used. He's going to try and come in. Smite steals it away. Broken Shard hit and run.
Very, very good play. In contrast to his Lee Sin yesterday against Fnatic, this is much more determined. Reading his opponent much better, and also the advantage, because Overpower's gone for Distortion Boots first. Overpower doesn't have mana regen. He's not stacking a tier like we've seen him do earlier. So that blue buff is a massive, massive swing in power, especially if Soren can secure his team's blue buff once it respawns, because that will, of course, just give him the ability to bully that lane out and assert some dominance.
Celavar missing a little bit of CS there. Has fell behind, of course. He did get taken down. in that lane. Blue buff will be taken this time for Soren, of course. Broken Shard making sure this one is secure. So a big advantage building in that bottom lane after that kill. 73 CS to 52. A lot of pressure on the ROCCAT this time around.
And we haven't really seen the mechanics of it, but you have to feel it is Woolite just playing very aggressively. Look at him moving forward, shooting out the explosive shots and trying to get those Zeal auto attacks down. But if Woolite is rushing that static shift first, Jankos is going to interrupt Broken Shot here. He's actually going to have some help from Overpower in a second as well.
Yeah, he manages to catch on towards him. Broken Shot having to use that ultimate, kicks him straight away. That will be down. It's a fairly quick cooldown, not the longest of ultimates. Selevallo continuing to keep the farm up on the tower, fairly safe. One thing we should point out, it's big and important, that ROCCAT struggle if they do not win the lane phase. And right now, they are slowly falling behind.
They're losing their grasp, that is for sure. And as a team, ROCCAT do not play from behind particularly well. What we've seen from Copenhagen Wolves, nor do they in recent games. They've lost a number of games in the last couple of weeks, and not very often do they dig deep and pull the game back. But I do think we're getting a tiny bit ahead of ourselves. It is only 700 gold. CS is fairly close, despite Copenhagen Wolves having a lead in the mid lane and a lead in the bottom lane. But once Selevar starts picking up the likes of a Sheen or a Phage, he can now start trading a little more with Woolite, but he needs to be very careful, hopefully relying on his living artillery poke, because Woolite with static shiv is going to keep that wave pushed very, very aggressively.
Dragon started out. Jankos long way away from this one. I'm not sure he's going to get close enough to try and smite Steel Overpower. Simply going to try and run interference. It will be smited out. Broken Shard secures that one, and the Wolves extend their lead. Mega Inferno Bomb thrown out just to keep that wave pushed in the mid lane and keep the pressure on Overpower.
Soren does not want to give up any sort of presence or control. And he's got that blue buff that we talked about, so he's accelerating his lead. Because Overpower has to be so much more reserved with his spellcast and his mana management, it's allowed Soren to pull ahead in the CS numbers. But more importantly, as Copenhagen Wolves read the back timing of Selevar effectively and punished by securing the first dragon of the game. So Copenhagen Wolves are the ones that have come out the gate swinging, and they're looking to gain authority in this matchup, and it's a significant improvement from yesterday's games.
I mean, as we said, ROCCAT ran the almost identical comp. Oh, Woolite, a little aggressive there, has to rocket jump over the side. Vander could catch him out. Meanwhile, in the jungle, Jankos getting stunned and locked up. Broken Shard going in for that one, knocks him straight down. Now Overpower in trouble, didn't get his Chrono Shift off on his jungler in time, and now he's in trouble. May have to use it on himself.
Overpower should have used that. I don't know if it was in range for Chrono Shift or not, but Jankos just got soloed out and blown up from the Copenhagen Wolves. They secure themselves with the kill. And that's also Jankos playing maybe a tad over-aggressive. There was not a lot of vision in the jungle there for ROCCAT to be making those sorts of plays, and he gets punished for it.
Youngbook on the tower is being harassed, has got sadism available if he needs it. Just instead going to farm out, can back off and teleport straight back to lane, which is what he plans to do. So Zazas, he's really the only shining light so far for ROCCAT, although he's only holding even in terms of farming his top lane.
So in order for ROCCAT to pull themselves back in this game, they want to start using their skirmish power with Zillion, with Elise, with Lulu against smaller targets of the Copenhagen Wolves. If the Wolves are able to get ROCCAT grouped up together and Soren can get a lot of damage down, it's the exact same scenario we said earlier for the Super Hot crew. You can negate the power of Wild Growth and Chrono Shift by hitting multiple targets with your high damage spells. And Tristan is quite a good pickup as well, especially with an early static shiv. While it's not a massive amount of damage, you can hit multiple opponents with the proc and the AoE from the explosive shot if you can secure some kills and get those resets. So for ROCCAT, they can't group up.
Well, Tower's taken a fair bit of damage from Woolite. They're continuing to keep the pressure on. Woolite does catch himself a dark binding. You're not going to be able to block out the spit. It does kind of go over your head. Unlimited trying his best nonetheless to protect any of those shots. Back in the mid lane, again, pressure. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Youngbook putting some pressure onto Zazas as well. Zazas now sadism used by Youngbook to keep that pressure on. Jankos again looking to go aggressive here on Broken Shard. Lands that Sonic Wave, gives him full vision And ROCCAT not able to create any play. Mega Inferno Bomb once again thrown out by Soren, really shoving that wave back in towards Overpower's face every time.
It also tells you that because Soren is using that Mega Inferno Bomb very willy-nilly and just throwing it out there, Copenhagen Wolves are happy to extend this laning phase. While there has been pressure on top and bottom, neither team has gone for the tower kill super, super hard. Look at Woolite, he's looking for poke, not tower damage.
And one thing we didn't notice or didn't point out for Soren is the fact that he didn't rush the other things. I mean, he's got the makings of it now, but because he was so successful in lane, he got that needlessly large rod and thought, you know what, I can probably get the death gap before I even need this item. He's fairly safe for mana, returning back to lane, got a big farm advantage built up Overpower, along with the 2 assists. So in terms of gold, he's doing a really good job against Overpower. Overpower, I want to see how he's going to build this one, how it's going to work out for him. Of course, he rushed the Rod of Ages last time around, again in the previous matchup, but against Froggen yesterday, he had to change his build. We'll see how he changes it this time when he's doing okay-ish against Soren.
Nothing yet.
But he has actually done the same as Froggen. He rushed the Distortion Boots.
Home Guard boots, and earlier today I think he went Death Cap first as well. Needlessly large into Death Cap. This time around he hasn't had the same level of gold to play with. But ROCCAT have got a fairly decent play. Because the tower's down in the top lane, I still feel that they need to get Jankos and Overpower to find singled out members of the Copenhagen Wolves. Look for those one-on-ones, look for those two-on-twos, where your Lulu and your Zillion are going to shine at this stage of the game. We should also potentially maybe see some involvement in that bottom lane. Saliva is still working towards his Trinity Force, and unlike Creatine yesterday, Woolite on this Tristana has got lane authority. He's had an extended laning phase. Part of the reason that Creatine was unable to farm up and get the build he wanted to is SK played hyper-aggressively and was in Millennium's jungle the whole time. ROCCAT have not done anything of the sort. So Woolite, Soren, and Youngbuck are just farming themselves to a power spike and will be looking for a team fight.
So 2 towers now down. ROCCAT get themselves the top one. The Wolves take the bottom one. Broken Shard lingering, waiting off. Finds Vander, goes in for Vander, puts a bit of pressure down on him. Vander having to back away. That's going to leave Salivar exposed. This is simply setting up for the Dragon, which will be spawning in 40 seconds time, but ROCCAT are grouped nicely in this mid lane.
There's a fair amount of vision from ROCCAT, so they are aware of the objective. They just don't have the numbers at the moment. Xaxis is backing, so he's got teleport available. If an engagement were to break out, he could join the fight, but as does Youngbuck. And yesterday, Copenhagen Wolves committed to a dragon fight where they shouldn't have.
Woolite well out of position, takes a big chunk of damage. He's burning down. Safeguard should be enough to save him. We do see Jankos chasing. Now he's over towards Soren. Mega Inferno Bomb thrown out. He's in trouble. Bomb's going to go on towards his head. He will drop. And oh, Jankos stole that one away from Overpower.
So ROCCAT's first kill of the game does land in Jankos' hands. Yesterday, Copenhagen Wolves made bad decisions around Dragon by over-committing and playing over-aggressive. This time round, they were split up, and Woolite just got caught.
Rocky jumped into that.
Simply got caught by the CC. So ROCCAT punish, force him away, and they should be grabbing this Dragon. It'll be the first of their game. And look at that, Copenhagen Wolves can't contest. No teleports used from either top laner, and all of a sudden, it's only 300 gold gain between these two teams.
Yeah, suddenly ROCCAT back in it. Obviously taking that top turret down. They can put pressure on this middle turret. Nobody's reacting to this. This could be a free turret. We can see Soren coming back. We've got no Mega Inferno Bomb. He's got to run all the way from lane now. Unlimited, the only person nearby. They're slowly collapsing in around them. Youngbuck coming in from the side. Oh, Broken Shard also there. They do manage to land the cleave on towards Xaxis, but I think they're going to go away scot-free here. Yeah. No problem at all. ROCCAT just step away.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy to get away from the middle lane. ROCCAT punish Copenhagen Wolves around the Dragon Pit. I actually think one of the biggest problems the Copenhagen Wolves have had all split long is their decisions in and around the Dragon. They have lost many, many games by overcommitting to fights, by picking bad fights. And this is another example of them playing the Dragon Pit incorrectly. I believe they were trying to deny vision, which is why they were moving into ROCCAT's jungle, and may have overemphasized the lead that they had built up, because ROCCAT just found the right targets and then won the engagement, and obviously the Dragon. So for Wolves, they're just going to be a little more cautious around the next time that objective spawns. And it looks like almost all of the lanes have returned to fairly standard settings, with the exception of Woolite now pushing mid lane and getting closer to getting that Infinity Edge completed.
Pink Ward spotted Overpower, lands the Sonic Wave. Broken Shard lands the Sonic Wave on Overpower. Bomb goes in return. Unlimited caught with a Dark Binding. They really want to get this Pink Ward down. Putting a lot of investment in it. Blue buff is spawning shortly, I feel, which is why the Wolves are getting close from behind them, trying to take that away from Overpower. Meanwhile, they do put a lot of pressure on this mid lane turret. The cannon minion's there, but it's going to get wiped so fast by Overpower and Sullivan.
Yeah, the wave clear between Overpower, Xazus, and even a little bit from Sullivan with that Void Ooze and Living Artillery makes it quite difficult to siege up. But once the Copenhagen Wolves do get to a tower, Ziggs and Tristana do a whole lot of damage and dropping that one down. So Overpower's going to get this blue buff. It was the previous one was stolen away by Broken Shard. Youngbuck just continues to push. He's actually got a small CS advantage over Xazus, and he should get this tower down.
Yeah, tower down, 2-1 in favor of the Wolves. Xazus, though, will he let him get away? He's got Sadism, uses it as soon as Yankos shows himself, steps away. Broken Shard, he's taking some burst damage. You can see how much damage that exactly is. Every single bomb that ticks on Overpower does it. Quite a substantial amount. Yeah,
no defensive stats from Broken Shard yet. And Overpower getting closer to a death cap. Soren also working himself probably towards an hourglass. But look at this. Copenhagen Wolves out of position, and ROCCAT are just going to grab the second tower of the game. This is just poor positioning for the Wolves. They knew that there was a numbers advantage in the mid lane, but unfortunately, Woolite and Unlimited had overcommitted in the bottom half of the map. They'd shoved the wave out. At least they've stolen a red buff, but that's what they gained in exchange for their mid lane tower. Not sure that's worth it.
Yeah, they could have pushed the bottom. They could have continued pushing that bottom wave. Instead, they chose like you said, to focus on that red buff and instead basically defending the turret. Whether that was simply Soren saying, it's okay guys, I've got it, I've got my ultimate, and then just mistimed his ultimate and left those two minions in there.
On the same token, the risk of being collapsed upon, Zilean is incredibly quick, as is Lulu with teleport. If Woolite and Unlimited had stuck around in the lane, they could have been run down by those champions, potentially. So, you know, Woolite and Unlimited, they made a call. Fortunately, it's sort of backfired. They at least got a jungle buff from it. And Copenhagen Wolves do still hold a gold lead at the 20-minute mark. They're even on towers. They're even on dragons. And they've got more kills. And very importantly, Woolite has an Infinity Edge and a Static Shift completed. So if a fight were to break out, despite the fact that Cogmore has a lot of damage, he's only working with a single completed item. So Woolite should have the advantage, plus the ability to have a larger impact, thanks to the resets on Rocket Jump.
And Youngbuck is a brick wall. He's got Banshee's Veil and Spirit Visage now completed. He's not going to worry too much about the heavy magic comp that ROCCAT have. Not really a great deal of attack damage coming other than Salavar, and even then that's only half.
So what ROCCAT will be looking for is one of those slightly extended fights where Salavar's got a lot of time to get a lot of auto attacks down. Thanks to his Caustic Spittle and his Q, he can shred some of the resistances on Youngbuck, and obviously the percentage HP damage on his W is going to help get through Mundo. But in order for all of that to happen, Sullivan needs to be kept alive, potentially needs to keep Soren and Woolite away from him, and he needs to focus down Youngbuck. So again, ROCCAT are just looking for the opportunity to have those extended fights, and ideally they can bait out a Mega Inferno Bomb. Notice the difference in that top lane. Youngbuck was playing aggressive on Xazus.
Yeah, definite turnaround. You can tell Xazus playing far more cautious. Despite the fact he's got Morel and Omicron getting a little bit of bleed onto Youngbuck, it's not enough. Overpower clearing that wave out. Got to be careful. The rest of the Wolves are stepping around the side here. They are spotted out by a ward, and again, Wolves have got to be careful. They don't invest too much to get that single pink ward again by the back of the red.
Dragon in 50 seconds. This is a near perfect replica of the previous Dragon fight. Wolves are slightly tighter knit, and Woolite is not completely out of position, but look at that double bomb damage. One hits all four members, and Soren dropped to about 40% hit points because he ate both of them. Very good damage from Overpower. That might, if Wolves back away, give the Dragon to ROCCAT.
Yeah, just 20 seconds on that one. Soren backs off, gets himself topped off, and runs straight back in here. Hasn't got tier 2 boots, so it's going to take him a while to get close. Xazus, teleport available, goes back in towards that top lane to deal with that, while the rest of it, Woolite now caught with a double bomb. He's going to go down below half hit points. And again, ROCCAT get themselves a little bit of positional advantage just with the help of Overpower's bombs.
Yeah, so with that death cap completed, this is where the power spike for Zilean shines. Youngbuck's in a 1v3, but that Banshees is going to help, and the rest of the team, nobody's really there to support him out. So Overpower's done a good job of forcing the Wolves away thanks to that AoE damage. But Soren has returned to the lane. Yeah, Woolite's got himself a Vamp Scepter, so he's going to have some built-in sustain. And if ROCCAT are not decisive in committing to objectives, it's going to give Woolite the time to farm up. In order for ROCCAT to take this Dragon, They need to poke Copenhagen Wolves low. I don't believe ROCCAT can win a straight-up 5v5 because of the fact that almost all of their damage is centralized in keeping Celevar alive for the longest period of time. Overpower will get 2, 3, maybe 4 bombs off in an entire fight, and Toronto will get more bouncing bomb. Let's see what they can do to
They're
Young.
going for Youngbuck. He's taken very low, but you can say, just pops that sadism and just walks away. Health, regen, no worries about that one. Spirit Visage on him, that will tick up very quickly. Vander caught with the Sonic Wave. Copenhagen Wolves moving in on this one. They're all grouped. Mega Inferno Bomb only landed on Jankos and Vaga, didn't do too much damage. Zaza's shield managed to cut a lot of that off. Youngbuck caught out once again. His ultimate's already down. Jankos caught up. Will he get locked up? He needs a couple more basic attacks. The Wolves, this is a risky fight still for them. ROCCAT, not too bad, but a lot was burned in that engagement. This time the Wolves, they start Dragon.
Without that wild growth, it's so much more difficult to win the fight. Vander may want to pull a yellow star. There's a lot of Wolves grouped up in the pit, and that's Jankos going in.
Jankos desperate to get close enough, can't get in there. Repels away, got nowhere to drop. ROCCAT trying to put the damage down, but they're all grouped up. Soren's got no mana though. He levels up. Oh, you jammy git. He's just going to get the damage back down on him. Quick jump on towards him. Walleye gets himself the triple. And just like that, they get the resets by a level up on Soren.
Copenhagen Wolves played that team fight perfectly. They got the ultimates out of ROCCAT that they wanted, committed to the objective, and then punished ROCCAT for an over-aggressive play. I actually think Jankos had a bomb on him when he rappelled up and managed to deliver some damage, which was quite cheeky, but it didn't change the outcome of the fight. ROCCAT lost 3 members, lost Dragon, lost Baron, and if Zavis isn't careful, he's going to get lost as well.
He's dead. That's going down. Baron picked up. Great turnaround by the Wolves. And suddenly ROCCAT, they are looking like they're in trouble.
ROCCAT should not have team fought there. Copenhagen Wolves' team fight was much more effective. I want to keep my eyes on Jankos. Does he have a bomb on his head in a second or not? No, he didn't actually. It's just AoE from the rest of the team. But unfortunately for ROCCAT, they didn't have that wild growth, which is super important. And Woolite gets the damages, gets those rocket jumps, and sticks to ROCCAT over and over. That's an Infinity Edge static shift versus just a Trinity Force. Now Overpower's in trouble.
Well, he's going to try and run away from this one. Everything misses there. He has got Chrono Shift available, but he's not going to buy him too much time. The rest of ROCCAT come around. Chrono Shift goes down, but look at this. Woolite coming in, trying to get around the side there. Overpower gets locked up. Broken Shot gets that. Now Jankos and Vander, they have to run. They're going to get caught with the cleaver. Black Shield will catch up. Broken Shot eats himself straight in towards her. Black Shield will not go down. Now Jankos in trouble. Cocoon lands in there, but the rest of Copenhagen Wolves close the gap, and it's another kill for Woolite as he chases down the rest of ROCCAT.
ROCCAT are completely out of sorts, out of position. Overpower gets caught out, and instead of ROCCAT just sort of leaving him to his death, they stick around and give up another kill, Jankos going down. So Copenhagen Wolves build up them a massive gold lead. They've got the tower lead, and they've got Baron buff. All of the kills that Woolite secured in the last few minutes has also given him a 3,000 gold lead, plus a completed Bloodthirster. So he's miles and miles ahead of Celevar. And considering there's not a lot of kill threat from Overpower from Zazas onto Woolite on the back line, he's going to have very easy team fights. His front line of Broken Shot and Youngbuck are going to stick on their front and soak up those Glitter Lancers and bombs, and Woolite, really, I don't see him getting killed unless he completely overcommits.
You can see the goal difference, just look at that. It got so close. ROCCAT edged themselves in the lead. And then the gigantic spike as the Copenhagen Wolves dump down and take the team fight, the Dragon, the Baron, and again, yet another team fight. Overpower caught out of position. That bomb's going to do nothing. Bounce. Soren gets himself another kill.
All too easy. Without Overpower's wave clear and Chrono Shift, the Wolves can just siege this tower. Zazas can do a good job at wave clearing, but if the Wolves want to dive, I mean, they've got Sadism available for Youngbuck. He's even setting himself up to potentially go around the back. You throw in a Glacial Fissure and a Mundo in your back line, and it's very difficult to deal with that. Copenhagen Wolves don't even need it. ROCCAT give up the tower.
So, continue pushing. Inhibitor turret available. Overpower still down for 10 seconds, and the Wolves can keep on pressuring. Honestly, Youngbuck could probably take a couple of hits. Instead, Woolite with that Blood Shield on him with the Bloodthirster will, of course, tank out a couple of hits for free as he keeps on pushing. So, Overpower now up. It is a 5-on-5, but of course, Baron is still on for another full minute for the Wolves.
And the Copenhagen Wolves squad is just better at 5v5s. So, if a fight were to break out, not only does the Wolves have the gold lead and Baron, they're in a stronger position. Here comes Overpower from the side. It's not committed yet.
He's going to get spotted as well. There's a ward around the side there. They immediately see him. and they have to get away from this one. He can't go around there. So, Wolves back off, try and step themselves around the side, and maybe start focusing on this inner turret, which would be the second one of the game for them.
Yeah, I want to go back to picks and bans, and we said in order for Copenhagen Wolves to actually make this composition work against ROCCAT, who have done well in their previous games, they needed to get ahead in the laning phase. Copenhagen Wolves did not necessarily smash the laning phase, but they got ahead in 2 of their 3 lanes. They got a dragon early. They lost 1 fight and then bounced back and have just really punished ROCCAT. And the siege power here from this, front line of Mundo and Lee Sin. Well, that's caught, but nobody's committed yet.
Yeah, Wolves quickly moving in position. Oh, Vander, Wild Growth used. It's not going to save him, or is it? Yes, it will. The shield, no, goes down. Chrono Shift's there, but the inhibitor turret will go down. They focus so much on saving their support that they forgot to actually do their job and defend the turret. And the Wolves now crack open the base of ROCCAT.
Wolves got everything they needed. Without a Wild Growth and Chrono Shift for a champion like Saliva, or even Overpower in those fights, there is no more threat on the Wolves. So they force ROCCAT backwards, grab the first inhibitor of the game. And truthfully, Vander may or should have potentially just flashed forward, got the Soul Shackles down, maybe tried to put some damage down. If the Wolves were focusing Vander, it would have allowed Saliva and Overpower to put damage onto their opponents, in theory. But of course, when you're 10k down, it is very difficult to maybe even pull that off.
And the interesting thing for me in this game is the fact that, as I mentioned, when we were talking about how the playing, other than Thresh, that is the only difference between this game and the Super Hot crew. They had a chance to watch that, figure out a counter, and now effectively use it. You look at that game and you think the difference is jungle ganks from Broken Shard. Broken Shard's been everywhere on the map on that Lee Sin. 205, compare that to the Rengar that Impaler ran.
Yep, who did nothing.
A tragedy.
Oh,
uh-oh.
Can they kill him?
Well, I don't know. Can they kill him? That's the question. He's going to get taken low. Soul Shackles will go off. That's going to lock him up, and they will get themselves a kill. But now, after throwing everything at that tank, Overpowered gets obliterated. Wallite pounces through, gets the reset, won't get close enough. Oh, you got nowhere to repel. He's just going to drop straight in amongst the team. Will go to the golems just off the side. Yes, he does. They were up. And the Wolves get themselves a 1-for-1. It's a top laner for a mid laner, but now don't forget the super minions pushing, and more importantly, Overpower's wave clear was the key to defending against the Wolves. They could just shove this mid lane.
Overpower got popped before he could even Chrono Shift himself. He just got destroyed there by the Copenhagen Wolves. And that was a death push that ROCCAT were putting together. I really like the point you were making before that fight happened though, D-Man, because Super Hot Crew got bullied, and there was no impact from Rengar. Yes, the low level or the early game impact of Lee Sin is stronger than Rengar, but none of Impaler's ganks with his ultimate worked at all. And he's going to be able to at least get away from this one, I believe. Here comes Wallite.
Yeah, if Wallite goes aggressive, he may well turn things around, but he's not going to get on him. Baron up in 30 seconds. That's going to be Wolves' focus now. They need to start clearing out every bit of vision. They've got 0 wards right now in the actual river. They've got a couple of aggressive deep ones. Wallite, though, is going to get focused. Dark Binding will land, but nothing will follow.
Yeah, there is nothing to follow up. Lulu's not a champion that dives into somebody that's been hit by a Dark Binding, nor is Zillion, really. And Copenhagen Wolves have just outplayed ROCCAT. The play style that they adopted in this game was stronger than Super Hot Crew did earlier, and because the Wolves have been more aggressive in their movements around the map, it's worked out. So, Death Gang set up here by the Wolves. I think it should be fairly obvious, and that Spiderling's going to spot it, but they've jumped on Yankov.
They've still caught him out, kicks him away. Mega Death Bomb, Mega Super, whatever the bomb. Mega Inferno Bomb lands on 3 people. Who cares? Everybody disengaged.
They got away. They got away.
Damn little yordle.
The boom happened. Now, Copenhagen Wolves are on the Baron. ROCCAT are split up. They do still have Wild Growth and Chrono Shift. A steal is what Jankos is looking for, but this is risky. Look at the positioning from ROCCAT. They're not in the best of positions to dive in together. And they may be like, oh!
Well, he's not going to dive in now, that's for sure, because Wallite found him once again. And a quick crit hit is enough to take him down from Wallite there. It was his ultimate boomed out in the end there. Wallite chasing now on towards Overpower. He's got a bomb on his head. Overpower's going to have to try and use that little speed up, but coming around the side is a perfect Glacial Fissure. That was fantastic.
Exactly the same as a moment ago. Glacial Fissure knocks him up in the air. Overpower can't even get Chrono Shift. The Wolves have done it.
Youngbuck literally is going where he pleases, and it's in the ROCCAT base as he just tanks it around there. Mega Inferno Bomb comes in this time around. Vander in trouble. Super Minions doing the job. The rest of the Wolves come around. They take victory. victory over ROCCAT and just edge one step closer to securing that 7th place spot.
Very, very strong game from the Wolves. The Howl is back. Not a Howl we hear all too often here in the ULCS, but a deserved win. Got ahead early, stayed ahead. And the mistakes from yesterday's games have been removed from the Wolves in this particular match.
Well, they said, you know, you got to focus on Jankos. 1-5-1, that's what they did, and it worked well. 8-0-2 for Wallite this time around. Once he gets going, despite that mistake where he jumped in with the rocket jump, didn't get able to flash out in timing. Basically, his team put themselves on the line to save him. The Wolves get themselves their 8th win of the season. It's been a long, hard season for them, no doubt about it. They've had a lot of roster changes throughout, but seemingly it has kept them that 7th place. Gambit, of course, still in the chance to pursue them, but it is.
Thank you very much, D-Man. Congratulations, Broken Shard. An applause directly for you. Amazing game by you guys. Talk me through the strategy coming into this one. ROCCAT obviously running the same comp as they did earlier. How much did you take off that going into this one?
We actually really wanted to pick Seraph this game. And when they banned it, we were like, wow, they actually read our minds or something. We kind of just established that the best way to beat a Zillion is also the best way to kind of stop ourselves from tunneling in too much. When we played Millennium and they played that comp and we tunneled really, really hard for kills, that really ended up making us lose the game. So when we wanted to pick Ziggs and Tristana, kind of give us that long range kind of buffer zone. But obviously Woolite is crazy, so he just goes in ham and tries to kill everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. He is fantastic. You also had a great game. Talk me through how it's been in the team for you. You seem to be on top of what is strategy as well for the team. Is that a main role for you in there as well?
Strategy, no, I'm not really like the main person behind it. Generally, we have a coach and we have an analyst who kind of figure that stuff out. My specific job is, some might say like a shot caller. I kind of just like give information to the team in the early game where I think the jungler is going to be or what I want to do and what like kind of early game stuff is going on. The difference between here and Complexity, where Prawley and Robert were main shot callers, is that I kind of tend to control the flow of the game and tell the team where to go. But when it comes to strategy, we all have a big part of it because it can't just be one person.
All right, now finally, you mentioned Complexity, of course. You, of course, played over in ANR, you're playing here, you played over in the Challenger scene. What is the biggest difference of playing in Europe in comparison to over there?
It's a little bit skewed because I did play against LMQ in the Challenger scene, so they kind of made it a lot more difficult because they were a really strong team, both mechanically and strategically. Overall, the way that I see is that NA has a lot more resources when it comes to organizations. They kind of have the funding in order to salary teams, whereas EU has the really raw mechanical talent that we see. We're going to see a game later today between NIP and SKP. SKP, obviously my old team. Watt the Fox of SKP is a fantastic mid laner, and that's just an example of the talent that we have here in EU.
All right, well, good words for you. Thank you very much.
And I just want to make a quick shout out to my boys at Complexity. I miss you guys and I watch every one of your games. So if you haven't already, go check out the NALCS and watch Complexity's 80-minute games.
All right. Thank you very much, Broken Shard. Little publicity for the NALCS. You're always a pleasure. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to be halfway through this jam-packed day of action here in the LCS when SK takes on Alliance. Don't go anywhere.